Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm Keyona Porshaà, Alchemist-in-Chic. I'm excited that you clicked on this video so we can have a little chat over chai. So, you clicked on the video, you read the title, you already know the topics on today's docket. We have the recent Supreme Court ruling and how it affects ICE and what is happening over there on the West Coast. Second, we have to chat about the Delta State University student being found on campus hanging by a tree. And then we will chat about the Democratic state representative being locked in a House chamber for refusing to sign a permission slip. All right, chat, the chai is hot. Earlier this year in June, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, began immigration sweeps across Southern California in support of President Donald Trump's push to crack down on immigration. Peaceful and violent protests have erupted. Immigrant families with mixed statuses where the parents may be undocumented, however, they gave birth to U.S. citizens, have been torn apart. National Guard troops have been deployed. And as of Monday, September 8th, the Supreme Court ruled without rationale that immigration enforcement agents can, quote, continue carrying out roving patrols in California without judicial micromanagement, end quote. Stated by United States Attorney General Pam Bondi on X, as reported by The Guardian. This recent decision follows a lawsuit challenging aggressive tactics and violations of the Fourth Amendment, which serves to protect against unlawful searches and seizures. USA Today reports that a U.S. citizen born and raised in East Los Angeles said he was standing on a sidewalk when agents ran toward him with military-style rifles, asking if he was an American and which hospital he was born in. Unable to answer that question, it is reported that he was forcibly pushed against the fence where agents were twisting his arm while putting his hands behind his back. He was able to provide his real identification card, which is a special type of driver's license where holders have to provide legal proof of residence. However, according to the lawsuit, the agents confiscated both his phone and his real ID, but only returned his phone. The key takeaway from the court's ruling is that it perpetuates racial profiling. It arms federal agents with the ability to go into these neighborhoods and communities where it's heavily populated by people of Latin descent and make arrests with little to no explanation, no due process, none of that. And most importantly, it's about to expand to communities in Chicago and Boston. We haven't even touched on how the president has been able to deploy National Guard troops without the consent of the governor to places like Memphis, Washington, D.C., California, and he's looking to keep going. When I first heard about this Delta State University student and his tragic death and everything of the sort, I went to the university website. Nothing is reported on the university website. I went to the Bolivar County coroner's office. No landing page for recent news, recent press releases, or anything so that the journalists can accurately report on what is happening. Super sus. Super sus. However, I seen people on social media, some outlets on social media sharing about the tragedy. So I'm like digging. Finally, I find that the university officials posted on Facebook what was going on. Okay. Now, it is important to note that their last press release, and I will provide screenshots of everything, but Off of my memory, it's either September the 5th or September the 9th was the last posting of an official press release on the official university website, published by the president. That was a press release about, oh God, I don't even, honestly, I don't remember. I'm not even going to try to lie right now. And then they have a press release landing page, and then they also have a news landing page. The latest, the latest published news article from the university was to fly the flags at half mast for the passing of, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyhow, let's talk about what is going on down in Mississippi. Breaking news shared on Facebook by university officials announced the body of DeMartravion, or Trey Reed, a 21-year-old student, was found hanging from a tree in the central part of Delta State University campus around 7:30 a.m. September the 15th. The investigation of this nefarious discovery is underway. However, the Bolivar County Coroner's Office reports we can confirm that the deceased, quote, did not suffer any lacerations, contusions, compound fractures, broken bones, or injuries consistent with an assault. Reed's remains will be transported to the Mississippi State Crime Lab for a full autopsy. The story surrounding DeMartravion's death is currently under investigation. In my opinion, the chief of police at Delta State University commented on his death rarely quickly, in an attempt to rule out an assault. They believe that it was and it's just, how do you jump to that conclusion so quickly without having done a proper investigation on this? It is reported that he was found by a staff member that early in the morning. I need to conduct further research. However, some of the things that I've seen on social media have included that the area of campus where his body was found hanging from a tree does not have cameras. Benjamin Crump, civil rights attorney, is now involved with the case, and further details from the family came out saying that they were told his body was found a different way than what was said to the general media. That is still under investigation, and as it develops, I will share my findings. And hopefully we can get to the bottom of it. It is extremely tragic. I can only imagine how his friends, how his family, how Black and African American students at Delta State University feel. Anyhow, moving on to our last topic for this week's chat over chai. I'm still getting used to saying that. I thought that it was a cute little but it is a little bit of a tongue twister. However, I don't know how I came across this article, but I discovered that a Democratic state representative by the name of Nicole Collier from Fort Worth, Texas, refused to sign a permission slip that was given by a Republican, I believe it was Republican Governor Greg Abbott, that stated that if the Democrats leave, they must return by Wednesday to go to this special legislative meeting that was in place so that they can vote on the redistricting of Texas in order for the president to get more seats in the congressional house. So basically, the same way that President Donald Trump picked up the phone and called to have a crackdown on immigration or a crackdown on crime where National Guard troops are being deployed all around to different American cities, he called the Republicans and asked that they redistrict or redraw their maps so that instead of having a slim margin of Republican seats in the House, if they redraw it, then he'll have more Republican support. So it seems as if Texas is where all of this is starting, right? It's important to note that although Democratic Representative Collier was only locked up for 2 days in the House chamber because she refused, it definitely sheds a lot of light on what's happening and draws attention so that people can see, oh, they're serious about this gerrymandering stuff. It's so crazy. So 2 weeks before she was locked in the house, it is reported by, I read an article by CNN, I believe. There was NPR reported on it, and I believe USA Today. I have to get the appropriate credits. I'm not making this stuff up on my own. I am a journalist and passionate about it, okay? Anyhow, it is reported that the Democrats in Texas pulled a quorum, which is when there is not enough representatives to vote on a matter and move it into legislation. So they successfully did that 2 weeks before the Republican was like, okay, since y'all want to pull that, I'm going to make y'all sign permission slips that say that you can leave, but you need to be under the escort of Texas to ensure that you're going to come back and vote on this thing so that we can go ahead and get everything redrawn up ahead of the midterm elections next year. So, the rest of the Democrats signed the permission slip so that they could leave, and Collier did not. So they kept her in the House chamber in Texas for 2 nights. And it's reported that she received a call from past Vice President Kamala Harris, just commended her on her political prowess. And so that was 2 weeks ahead, right? They successfully did that because they're trying to like buy time for this new, I don't even know how I want to call it, but they're trying to buy time for this moving into legislation. They leave for 2 weeks. They go wherever they go. Not enough people are there to vote on it. Okay, Republican decides, well, y'all not about to keep on playing with us like that. So you need to sign a slip saying that you're going to come back. And she says no, she has to spend a night. They end up moving it into legislation anyhow, but it was important. Shouts out to Democratic Representative Nicole Collier for doing that, because for people like me who have no idea, but everybody is paying attention to politics in a way that they never have before, right? But what she did, the selfless act that she did, which was to not sign it for whatever reason, definitely highlighted it, so that we all can start paying attention to how they're moving at the speed of light to gerrymander all these blue states to be more red. So that happened in Texas. That motivated the governor over in Texas, Newsom, to try to jump ahead of it and make sure that versus redistricting to where the Republicans have a hand up or an advantage, the Democrats, if it goes right in California, will have more of an advantage than before. So crazy things are happening. By the time this goes out, I know that it's going to be so much more that we have to talk about. But I do want to say that on a weekly basis, I would like to come on camera and sit down and have a discussion about what's going on and just kind of peel back the layers on things over some tasty chai. I would love to have your company as I do this. I would love to have your dialogue. If we can have a discussion, that would be great. We can do it in the comments. I can pull comments and I can add them into the production so that we can see your opinions and your views, whether we agree or don't agree. I'm always here for healthy discussion. I think it brings understanding. I don't have to love it. I don't have to agree with it, but I do have to respect opinions other than my own, and how they affect the greater good. So I came up with this show concept, a little chat over chai, because I wanted to discuss these complex topics in this complex time that we find ourselves in kind of like a laid back type of vibe.